Big Ten. As the Boilermakers come out, this place a rock as Purdue tries to go 5-0 in the conference. Jim Barber along with Bob Ford, fasten your seatbelts. This ought to be fun tonight as we take a look at two teams that have a great rivalry going, Bob.
Yeah, they really do. They're not very far apart, maybe about 100 miles, and when they get together, it's two great basketball teams.
Let's get together with the Cocoline Fueling Factors. Here's what Purdue must do tonight.
The Illini are very, very effective on the inside. They're athletic. Purdue must block out on the backboard. They need to get some fouls and get to the free throw line, Jim. They haven't hit those very well. They need to hit them tonight.
Those are the fueling factors for tonight's game. Cocoline's Fueling Factor, their 100% guarantee of high-quality fuel. Over 57 years of family pride makes a difference. Let's get the Illinois viewpoint from Mike Goldberg and Doug Altenberger.
Well, thank you, guys. Good evening, everybody. The answer is yes. Kejuan Garris is expected to play tonight for the Fighting Illini, although Kejuan will not start. Doug, I just talked to Jimmy Collins. He said Kejuan is chomping at the bit. Feels like once he breaks the sweat, that shoulder will be just fine, but it will take more than Kejuan Garris to win tonight's basketball game.
Yeah, they're going to need Richard Keene and Jerry Hester to play well. Both these guys have got to be on. Maybe they can capture some of that magic they had in December with Kejuan Garris back in the lineup tonight.
Well, ironically, the Illini, the last team to beat Purdue here at Mackey Arena. Jim?
Thank you, Mike and Doug. We'll come back with the starting lineups. Illinois and Purdue at Mackey.
Welcome back live to Mackey Arena here in West Lafayette, Indiana. Big Ten basketball tonight. The Fighting Illini make a change in the starting lineup. Chris Gandy will start at the center position instead of Jerry G. Matt Heldman in the backcourt along with Richard Keene, Bryant Notary, and Jerry Hester are the forwards. The Purdue Boilermakers off to a good start. 4-0 in the Big Ten Conference. Chad Austin, Porter Roberts in the backcourt. Brandon Brantley really kind of starting to become the go-to guy, and then Hairston and Dove in the front court. 4 seniors start for the Purdue Boilermakers tonight. Lou Henson has his crew ready to go. We'll be back for the starting tap after this. Mackey Arena tonight. These two coaches have combined 37 years of experience in the Big Ten Conference and over 1,000 career coaching victories. Gene Cady has his team at 14-2 overall, back-to-back Big Ten championships for the Purdue Boilermakers. Last year, 15-3. The year prior, 14-4, the record for Gene Cady's Purdue Boilers. And he has had some personal tragedy going on the last couple of weeks. Our prayers are out to his daughter and the loss of his father. A very tough time for Gene Cady. Lou Henson, a tough time in a different way, a less important way in the real spectrum of life, but still important to these young men. But the note is that the Fighting Illini are the last team to beat Purdue at Mackey Arena, and that happened last year. And at that point, Doug, when the Illini won here, they opened the season 3-0 in the Big Ten. Oh, what a difference a year can make.
Well, in that game, what they did is they dropped back, made Purdue beat you from the outside. That's what you got to do. Their strength is not the perimeter. Also, on the other hand, Illinois came out, perimeter were very active, and were able to make some buckets.
Look at how close the all-time series is. Purdue leading by 1, 73-72. Our officials for tonight, Mike Sanzare, Ron Grissom, and Jerry Petro. The Illini win the tap. Matt Heldman will control. The Illini in the road orange uniforms, and the home whites being sported by the Purdue Boilermakers. Undefeated in Big Ten Conference play. Keene gets it going right away, and he hits the two-pointer from the corner.
That was the same spot he hit last year and hit that big bucket down the stretch. Purdue will play tough man-to-man, so Illinois will try to spread the court, look to go back door, look for some back screens on offense.
Porter Roberts, strong point guard. Herb Dove coming off a strong performance against the Indiana Hoosiers. Roberts look to Brantley to try to carry the load again tonight. He misses his first shot, and Gandy gets good position on the rebound. Heldman will push it up for Illinois. They lead early. And a foul is going to go against number 21, Herb Dove, away from the basketball. That will be the first on the Boilers.
Well, what Purdue will try to do defensively is get very physical with you, Mike. They'll get in the passing lanes. They'll push and shove you. They like to get you out of your offensive rhythm.
Up top, Matt Heldman. Heldman looks to shoot. Tough shot. It rims in and out. Offensive rebound by Bryant Notary. Now Keene. Keene looks down low. Hellman in traffic, swatted away. Good block down in the paint by Roy Hairston. Back the other way, Roberts slashes, push it to the corner. Rebound by Matt Hellman. Off the missed jumper from Herb Dove. Now Keene, cross court. Gandy spots up. And his shot rims in and out. Chad Austin, the only sophomore in the starting lineup. The other 4 guys are seniors. Dove tried to force the pass in. Here comes Hellman on the run. Hellman got out of control and just threw it away. Austin back the other way on Keene. Chad Austin pushes it up top. Austin for 3. Offensive rebound by Purdue. In traffic, Dove will go to the line. He is fouled.
But one of the things that Coach Henson's been harping on has been toughness. Right there, Hester went up strong, but he didn't go up strong enough. And that's one of the things that Coach Henson's been trying to stress to his team is, hey, listen, you don't have to be 6'10", you don't have to be 7 feet tall. If you want to rebound, you got to concentrate it. Most of these guys, Purdue is a very physical team, and what they'll try to do is push and shove you. So Illinois has got to have everybody rebound, and that means especially from the top. Keene, Hester, and Hellman have got to help the big guys down low with rebounding.
Herb Dove, a senior out of Perry Meridian High School in Indianapolis, coming off a career-high 17-point performance Tuesday night against the Indiana Hoosiers. Dove averaging just under 7 points a game. An outstanding performance. He came out and really set the tone the other night for the Purdue Boilermakers, who extended their home winning streak with a 74-69 win over Indiana. Key in that game, Doug, was their work on the boards. The steal, but stepping out of bounds is Roy Hairston, and Hellman will get it back.
Well, you can see right now, Purdue is really overplaying Matt Hellman. They know Hellman, one of his strengths is not his quickness, so they're putting a lot of pressure on him. Richard Keene has got to step up, maybe help him out on the perimeter in order for them to establish their offensive half-court sets.
Richard Keene gets it to Jerry Hester. Now it is Gandy, fakes the shot, gets Hairston in the air. Gandy, strong move inside, and makes the soft jumper. Chad Austin back up top. Purdue will really try to work for the high percentage shot, especially this year with the lack of a big superstar like they've had the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, they're a much more consistent team. They have different guys step up each night.
There's the jumper for 3 from the hand of Chad Austin, his first 3 of the night.
See, Illinois went to a zone. When you play a zone against Purdue, there's only a couple guys who can shoot. One of them is Chad Austin. Someone's got to speak, communicate, make sure you're picking them up.
Now Hellman gets it inside to Hester. Jerry Hester shot too strong, rebound by Herb Dove. Porter Roberts to Chad Austin. Baseline penetration, Austin again. 5 straight points for Chad Austin. Purdue leads by 3.
Illinois is not getting the ball inside at all. Purdue's doing a good job of sealing it off. Everything they're getting is in the backdoor route.
And finally they do get it downstairs. Keene to Matt Hellman for his first bucket of the night. Horses in this game that really dominate down low. Roberts, the long-range jumper. Notary had good position. Keene quickly up to Jerry Hester, and they catch Purdue with the fast break.
Oh, what a great steal by Hellman. Austin wasn't looking. Hellman was very alert, dropped back, and then Austin took his eye off him and stepped right in the passing lane.
Matt Hellman works it to Jerry Hester. You know, and this opportunity to play Hellman has really worked his tail off. Now Keene, thought about the jumper, gets it to Hellman. He'll fire the 3. Yes! Oh, Hellman.
He almost stepped out of bounds. That's how far out he was. And that's one thing about Hellman. You've got to make him put it on the floor. You know he can shoot the 3-pointer.
That brings Gene Cady to his feet. Now Purdue back up top. The Illini shot very well in this building last year, on way to a victory. Matter of fact, in the 90s, they have really dominated the Purdue Boilermakers, although last year's season series was split, both teams winning on the other's home floor. Illini at one point had won 7 of 9 games against the Purdue Boilermakers. Left side, Notary defensively. And Keene with the rebound. Now it is Notri. A 7-0 run for the Illini. You saw the reaction of Gene Cady. This is where the Illini need to make good decisions offensively, take advantage of this early momentum. Austin tries to answer. Hester is fouled on his way up for the rebound by Brandon Brantley, number 42.
Well, the key to this run right now is rebounding. On the defensive end, they've cleaned out Purdue, only giving them one shot.
Good start for the Illini here at Mackey.
You don't need to tell me I work hard. I know I work hard. Farming is a hard.
Learn about Hester hustles down behind the defense. We talk about Purdue, what they're trying to do. They're going to try to get real physical. And you see a lot of bodies flying around. And that's the thing that's hurt Illinois here in the Big Ten. A lot of pushing and shoving. And you see Hairston say, hey, I'm not taking that, especially here in Mackey.
And there you get a good look at Roy Hairston, former National Junior College Player of the Year out of Hutchinson Junior College in Kansas. Look who's in the basketball game. Kewan Garris. Notri looking for Kewan. Stepping in and forcing it out of bounds. Number 15 for Purdue. That is Alan Eldridge, the freshman out of Fort Wayne. There is number 22, Kewan Garris, has missed the last 3 games with the bad shoulder. He hurt it in the collision with Jamie Fike against Michigan State.
One thing important for Illinois is to get their spacing. And there's an example of rushing their offense. We talk about pressure. Purdue's going to put that on you. G and Hester didn't have their timing, so G goes down the screen. Hester pops out too early, and he gets called for the moving screen. So we talk about getting your spacing. The backdoor cut is there all day for Illinois if they take their time and handle the pressure.
Kewan, a tough start to the Big Ten season, just 3 of 14 from the field. He really struggled with a career-low 3 points at Minnesota. Now Todd Foster also in the game, works it around to Alan Eldridge. Eldridge, an Indiana All-Star last year. Miller off the bench has been very effective this year. Working it inside, Jerry G. Now it is Todd Foster back outside. 8 on the shot clock. G creates havoc again down low. Garris with the step, now Keene, 4-3. Jerry G inside, lays it in.
Right now, I mean, Illinois is beating Purdue at their own game. Rebounding, that's been a strength all year for Purdue, averaging out rebounding their opponents by double digits. And Illinois, on the other hand, is being out rebounded in the Big Ten in double digits.
Got a foul underneath, called away from the basketball. It's going to be a double foul both ways.
Since Illinois got the tip, it's going to go back to Purdue at the open. So then now it'll be Purdue's ball. Since it's a jump ball, the arrow goes to Purdue.
Purdue has gone almost the last 3 minutes without a field goal. Eldridge gets it to the far side. Foster down on the blocks. Here's Alan Eldridge. Jumper from the corner goes. A 3-pointer for David Lesman, the sophomore, native of France from Robinson, Illinois. 3-pointer for David Lesman. Whistle away from the ball once again.
Right now you can see the referees trying to gain control. It's a little physical out there in the sense that guys are using their hands, pushing and shoving. We saw it with Hairston coming after that timeout in the replay. So they're trying to grab control of this game, not let it get too physical out there.
Lesman picks up his second personal foul. 13-10, Illini lead. Garris up top, flips it inside to Jerry G. And G looks strong so far. He did not start tonight. A little bit of a disciplinary reason. See, he just has not played well. So not discipline away from the court, but let's get a little discipline. Play a little more effectively on the court.
Well, he's only averaging 4 rebounds a game in the Big Ten, and that's the reason he was sitting on the bench. And there was a rare opportunity by Purdue here in the first half, Mike. A second putback, the offensive rebounds, which really has hurt Illinois in the Big Ten play.
Justin Jennings with the basket. 3-point Illini lead. Hester on the right side. And Hester was bumped by David Lesman, and that will be his third.
See, what's happening right now, Illinois is identifying about the pressure. So what they're doing is they're putting the ball on the floor or going backdoor. And what's happening is that since you're putting so much pressure on everybody, it's very difficult to get help. Here you see Miller come in trying to make something happen. Everybody collapses up front. The guards don't drop down, and that's how they got the offensive board in that situation. When you're playing the zone, it's tough to rebound. Tough to put a body on somebody.
Keene gets it to Notri. Notri, long-range jumper, goes. Bryant Notri, three-point field goal. He is just 4 of 11 from long range coming into tonight.
I mean, this is the team that we're used to seeing in December that we haven't seen at all so far in January.
Notri all over the man down low, but heads-up play by Justin Jennings. Back-to-back field goals. Good perseverance on the offensive blocks.
Well, offensively, Purdue is starting to make adjustments to Illinois' zone on defense.
Notri again. Bryant Notri back-to-back three-point field goals. We have seen the Illini shoot well from long range in victories in our broadcasting careers.
Well, when you see Notri start to hit from the perimeter, it's such a plus, and it makes Illinois so much harder to defend.
The Illini doing a good job in the first half at Iowa the other day. Traveling violation on Brad Miller when they shot 60%. They are off to a good start offensively tonight. Fighting Illini lead by 7. 11-13 remains in the first. Express prior written consent of Creative Sports is strictly prohibited. Mike Goldberg, Doug Altenborger, courtside here at Mackey Arena. The Illini 0-5 in Big Ten Conference play. Their worst start under Lou Henson. Shooting so far outstanding for the Fighting Illini.
They came out against Iowa Thursday and shot 60% and just weren't able to hold on. And they played a very good game against Iowa.
Steal the other way. Herb Dove slams it down.
You've got to meet your pass, Mike. I mean, Jerry has to. You just can't go out there flat like that. It's almost like a wide receiver quarterback throwing. You've got to come back and get that pass.
The Illini want to do their best to keep this crowd out of the basketball game, too. Notri working inside. Justin Jennings was all over him. Justin Jennings will pick up his first personal.
Right now, the crowd's calling for a hook on Notri, but no one can match up with Notri. Gene Cady and Purdue's having a difficult time. That's the third guy they've thrown at Notri, trying to slow him down. You see here, extends his elbow out and gets around the defender, and that's what Gene Cady was looking for, but not a lot of contact after that once he got by, and then Jennings came back and gave him the bump.
Richard Keene checks back into the lineup for the Illini. Matt Heldman sits down. So it's Hester, Notri, G, Keene, and Garris. Hester the hanger, tough shot. Jerry G down in the paint. Leaves it for Hester. Here's Garris. First shot of the night, and it's too strong. Herb Dove back the other way. Dove in traffic. 4 orange jerseys in good position on the defensive end.
You're exactly right, and that's what it takes. The team together has to rebound, and Illinois is getting to the hoop. That's the second block by Purdue, but that's what you like to see if you're an Illinois fan, is them getting on the break, trying to get those mismatches, pushing the ball up the court. That's their strength.
Brad Miller credited for the block. Porter Roberts back into the lineup for the Boilermakers. Roberts, the senior out of Chattanooga. Keene all the way up top for Bryant Notri. Keene works it on the right side. Richard Keene to Notri off the dribble. Readjusts from 18. Jerry G over the back. That'll be Jerry's first.
Well, you like to see that in Jerry G, trying to get to the offensive boards, make something happen. I mean, I'm sure Coach Henson's talked to him, especially in the last couple games, where he hasn't been trying to get to the boards.
Chris Gandy set to check in. Now Todd Foster, Mr. Hustle Award winner. Oh, there's a breakdown.
Well, Mike, what happened there? See, they went to zone. Now they went to man-to-man on that series, and they didn't communicate. No one switched, and Lou Henson's irate with his players. That's why he called a 20-second timeout.
Finally, a smile on the face of Gene Cady.
Well, everybody saw it was wide open. No one bothered to look inside. He was open for about 2 or 3 seconds. Here you see they rotate the basketball. He spins off, and the Illinois defenders have their back to the basketball. You never want your guys to do that. Again, here he comes through. No one switches. No one communicates. Again, it's real loud in here, so sometimes you got to tap your guy on the jersey and get him going.
Herb Dove, career-high 17 points against Indiana, and it brought this quote from Bob Knight. The kid has had to work very hard to be a good part of the good teams they've had here recently. I have a great admiration for his hard work. Herb Dove getting some compliments from Bob Knight, his Hoosiers losers at Mackey on Tuesday night. Heldman, three-pointer. Quick move by Matt Heldman. He spotted up. Wide open jumper and buried it. Already 8 points for Heldman.
That's one of those. It's not a good shot. It's not a good shot. And then once it goes in, it's an all right shot.
It's a shot that he was taught here in Illinois, of course. Now it is Porter Roberts.
Right now, mismatch. There you see Herb Dove going against Heldman. He wanted to take him. Didn't have a chance.
10 on the shot clock. Justin Jennings working against Chris Gandy. Now 5 to shoot. Porter Roberts. Gandy tried to get a hold of the rebound. Justin Jennings bumped into him.
Not a good foul by Jennings. I mean, that's the second foul on him. He almost looks like he's a little frustrated, trying to make something happen, put it on the board. Good defense by Illinois. And then when it goes up, good block out. Illinois tonight, this is the best I've seen them rebound all year. I can promise you that over the last couple of games, Coach Henson's really been preaching with these guys. You got to block out.
Luther Clay, number 34, set to check into the lineup for the Purdue Boilermakers. He is one of 3 players on this team who prepped at Maine Central Institute. Chad Austin and Brad Miller, the other 2. And there is Justin Jennings, number 33. He'll sit down. Jennings with the 2 personal fouls.
Boy, I would like to have been the coach on that high school team. And what 3 great athletes. And luckily for Purdue, all coming here, signing.
Last year, that Maine Central Institute team, runner-up for Prep School National Championship. Gandy gets the top half of the 1-and-1. Chris Gandy at the line, shooting the 1-and-1 as Ryan Blackwell checks in. And we have to mention 8:52, Doug, left in the half. The Illini already in the bonus. Could this be the night that the Illini get more free throw opportunities than their opponent, because it has been drastically a disadvantage for Illinois thus far in the Big Ten season?
Mike, you're right. In the Big Ten play, they've been outscored on the free throw line by 50 points, which equates to 10 points a game. I mean, that's an area where Kewan Garris, he's the man that gets into the free throw line.
Not only himself, but obviously the many fouls that pile up, you get into that bonus situation when Kewan drives into the paint. Purdue offensively, trail by 7. Todd Foster. And the rebound by Ryan Blackwell off the hand of Chris Gandy. Keene working against Foster. Keene's got a couple of inches on Todd Foster. Now Ryan Blackwell, the freshman. Hester gets it up to Gandy. Keene finds himself wide open and adjusts accordingly.
Well, they ran the screen and roll up top. No one dropped down. Again, trying to put pressure on the wings. It opened wide open for Richard Keene.
He was still thinking he was going to have to make that little jumper.
Yeah, he pulled up, and then he was going to, finger rolled it the last second.
Dove loses the basketball, and it belongs to the Illini. 5th turnover by Purdue. Fighting Illini enjoy their largest lead of the contest by 9 points here at Mackey.
At first glance, you might go round and round between Chevy pickups and Fords. They both have driver airbags.
Where Illinois is up by 9, 27-18. And one of the reasons here, you see they've done a good job of handling the pressure, the screen and roll, and Richard Keene takes it to the hole. They've been very successful, Mike, of driving to the hole or going back door looking for that back cut.
Illinois and Purdue have both finished in the upper half of the Big Ten Conference standings over 12 of the past 15 seasons. Purdue in good shape to do that again this year, but Richard Keene and his teammates have their work cut out for them. 0-5 in the Big Ten Conference. The last time the Illini stood this far down in the standings to start the Big Ten season was 1930-31. 4th turnover of the night. The Illini shooting right around 50% and doing a good job staying with Purdue on the glass. Clay, tough shot, rims in and out. Gandy with the rebound. Matt Heldman running the point again. Kewan Garris on the bench. Heldman to Hester. Now Gandy from 18. Got bumped going for the rebound, but the ball fell right into the hands of Ryan Blackwell.
Yeah, it seems, Mike, every time the ball goes up on either end, you're seeing two or three orange jerseys just hounding, tracking it down. They're just beating Purdue to the point of attack right now.
And that is the thing that has lacked, rebounding and rebounding effort for the Fighting Illini. Heldman tried to take the charge. Porter Roberts pushes it back up top. To shoot for the Boilers. Austin works it off the dribble. Keene got a hand on the basketball. Offensive rebound, though, by Luther Clay. And they're going to call the push on Ryan Blackwell.
Well, if you talk about Luther Clay going upstairs, I mean, there he went way upstairs, went right over the top of Illinois. They did a good job of blocking out. But when you get a long rebound like this, there's not much you can do. See, Blackwell does a good job of putting a body on him, but just goes upstairs, and you can see what an athletic talent this guy is.
5th team foul on the Illini, so Purdue will inbound. Get a good look at Luther Clay, freshman from Oberlin, Ohio. McDonald's All-American last year in his senior year in high school. So a fresh shot clock, and Purdue will try to be diplomatic with their shot selection once again. Miller strong, he jams it home. Brad Miller, good first step to the hoop.
That was a little confusing because Illinois went to zone on that, but I saw Notri going man-to-man. A guy went right through the lane. Again, Illinois changing defenses, doing a good job confusing Purdue, but confused themselves on that play.
The Illini lead by 9. Look at the pressure from Porter Roberts. Keene for 3. And it goes. Nope, they're going to whistle it off, and that's a good call. It hit the top of the backboard. It looked like it hit the shot clock, Doug. Still, Lou Henson wants to discuss it.
Well, you see Richard Keene go up strong, hits the top, then hits the top, and it's close.
That is close.
It's close, and that's what Coach Henson's arguing about is one of the other officials, the top official over here, didn't see it and went over on the left-hand side where our camera is. We had a little better angle than the coaching staff for the Fighting Illini.
It looked at first like it hit the shot clock itself, which would have signified the whistle and not allowing the basket. Nonetheless, it will not count. And Miller tries to cut Purdue to within 7. Garris is back in the contest. Dubbed the jumper from the corner. And the foul away from the basketball is going to go against Purdue's Brad Miller. That will be his first.
See, what you're seeing is Purdue is taking most of their shots from the perimeter, and that's what Illinois wants to do defensively. Now, on the other hand, they're doing a good job of blocking them out, only giving them one shot, and now you're seeing they're going to the free throw line. This is the way Illinois was playing early on, and this is the way that Coach Henson expected his team to play in the Big Ten, and they've struggled, and one of the reasons was a Kewan. You can see when he comes in there, he sort of energizes everybody else.
You talked about the differential at the line. For the Fighting Illini in the Big Ten season, 100 free throw attempts coming into tonight in Big Ten play. Their opponents had 158. Notri, Yeoman's effort underneath. Possession arrow goes the way of the Illini after the Gandy miss. Now the effort's there tonight, but it was also there on Thursday at Iowa.
Right, I mean, these are two tough places to win. When you go on the road, you don't expect to win at Mackey or in Iowa City. Illinois doesn't have that option this year. They've got to come away with at least a split. That means a win tonight.
Now Keene looked down low. Gandy couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it was a great pass. I mean, Chris just wasn't looking for it.
5th turnover by Illinois.
Well, you know Purdue's going to bang inside. They've got physical guys. They bring Miller off the bench. You see Miller really trying to get some spacing. Does a good job, but Gandy just couldn't get himself turned around. Nice try by Richard Keene.
Roy Harrison back in the lineup. Notri helps to force the turnover. sixth turnover of the half for Purdue. Both teams have come out and played a very stereotypical Illinois-Purdue basketball game. Remember, Gene Katie's team came into Champaign last year and shot brilliantly in the first half at the Assembly Hall. Ended up with a decisive victory over Illinois as they were trying to work towards their second straight Big Ten championship. Conzo Martin, the story that night. Holding foul on the Boilers' Porter Roberts.
Well, they came in like a juggernaut into Champaign. I mean, you knew they were going to come hard at Illinois, and they almost came into Champaign and bloodied their nose. Here you see on the replay, Illinois doing a good job of handling the pressure we talk about. And Austin puts his arms out and tries to hold Kewan, because Kewan again had that backdoor cut. He would have been wide open if Austin didn't hold on to him.
Kewan Garris has played just 11 games this season.
Yeah, it seems like he hasn't even been with the team at all this year. He was hurt in December, didn't play much, and when he did, he wasn't 100%. Big Ten play, gets kicked in the stomach against Minnesota, has a tough time coming back. So it's been sort of an odd year for us because you really haven't got in to see him playing that much.
Todd Foster checks in. Kewan hits them both. Illini with their biggest lead of 11 points, 31-20. Under 5 minutes remains in the first half. Now the defense for Illinois really collapses. Keene working diligently on Chad Austin.
I mean, it looks like you expect Illinois to be tired after a big game against Iowa. They had to drive back, didn't get back till Thursday night late, 2 a.m. You think these would be tired, but I think maybe Purdue, after that big win against Indiana, emotionally or mentally, are not really quite as fresh as Illinois. You see Illinois looking ready to play.
I think a little bit of the news that Kewan Garris is back in the lineup has obviously energized these guys mentally, too. Austin takes it himself. Chad Austin. The one thing he does maybe a little bit better than Woody, because he's got more size. He can take it to the hole with more authority. Woody Austin, his older brother, former All-Big Ten performer here in West Lafayette. Garris tried to go up. Notri over-aggressive, but he'll pick up his first. Now, we said it last telecast, but we'll say it again. This guy has really worked in the Big Ten. 12.7 rebounds a game for Bryant Notri.
Well, again, we talked about handling the pressure. Does a good job of sneaking back doors, and you see Notri trying to make something happen.
Timeout on the floor. Fighting Illini doing a good job shooting thus far. Thus the lead, 31-22. Big Ten schedule has really drastically been played for Illinois thus far. As 2 against Northwestern and Ohio State, 2 of the teams in the lower tier of the conference last year, remain 4 games against those teams for Illinois. And Purdue has just done a yeoman's job against any opponent that they have faced. Notri picks up the personal. It is his first.
Well, that's why tonight's win would be so big for Illinois. It gets them back in the picture of the NCAA tournament. Purdue, one reason why they've been successful in winning 2 Big Ten championships the last couple of years is that they've been able to win on the road. And if you want to compete for the conference championship, that's the secret.
Check that. The personal foul on Bryant Notri is his second. Roy Hairston was scoreless against Indiana. It was the first time in 48 games played Roy Hairston went without a single point. First time in his career here at Purdue, and he gets both from the line to pull Purdue to within 7. 3.5 remains. Keene quickly down the floor to Notri. Notri with the left in traffic, and he will go to the line. He was pushed by Roy Hairston.
I don't think you can pressure Illinois. I think Purdue, coaching-wise, is making a mistake in that you try to pull full court pressure. That's how Illinois wants to play. They like to push that ball, a more looser game. That's where Kewan, Notri, and Keene can be very effective. And then on the half court, I think they're trying to put too much pressure on Illinois. Because Illinois can handle it. I mean, that's one thing that they do have is the ball handlers. Right now, they're averaging 12.3 turnovers a game, which is leading the Big Ten.
Bryant Notri splits at the line. Chris Gandy checks in for number 25. Notri with the 2 personal fouls will sit down. 8-point Illinois lead. Their biggest of the half has been 11. Purdue 4-0 in the conference, an average margin of victory of almost 15 points per Big Ten win. Hairston gets a look off the window, and it'll go. Roy Hairston with his first field goal of the night.
And Roy Hairston's starting to feel it right now. He wants the ball, work hard on the low post. Gandy just got too deep, nothing he could do with him.
Garrison traffic. Rims in and out, followed by Gandy. I'll tell you what, Purdue is not blocking out in the same fashion they have to start this season. When you talk to the Purdue people, as Hester is fouled underneath by Brad Miller, the one thing they will tell you is that Gene Cady's team fundamentally, with their rebounding thus far, has been as good this year as in recent memory.
Well, on that last play, Gandy, I mean, Herb Dove just forgot about Chris Gandy. Didn't even put a body on him. Was standing out at the three-point line while Gandy went in there and crashed. Then on the other hand, Miller looks like he's a little frustrated out there. Went up strong, trying to make something happen, and that's the second time he's been called for the foul on him, trying to crash the offensive boards. There you see
Heldman, yep.
Heldman coming in for Garris. Garris so far played some good minutes, you know. Didn't try to score, didn't try to force it, let the game come to him. Give him a lot of credit.
Back to his freshman year.
Well, you've been injured, you've been out of it, and you just sort of take one step at a time, and right now he's just trying to get back into the flow.
Jerry Hester, strong performance the other night against Iowa. 21 points, 8 of 12 shooting. Porter Roberts up top to Brandon Brantley. Brantley scoreless in the contest. And he has kind of been the guy that started to take this team on his shoulders. Hairston flips it down inside. And as we speak, he gets his first.
Hairston really creating some problems down low. And Purdue senses that, trying to get the ball to him.
Purdue has pulled to within 8. Now Keene against Foster. And he gets the roll. Richard Keene, the shooter's touch. 6 points for Richard. And under 2 minutes remains in the first half. The Illini shooting very well at 50% from the field. Push away from the basketball. This time it is going to go against Chris Gandy. Pardon me, they're going to give it to Richard Keene. It will be his first. Todd Foster, senior from Washington, Illinois. Good story, Todd Foster. He is a hard-nosed player, has won the Purdue Mr. Hustle Award the last 3 seasons.
Well, you know why that. He's from the Peoria area. That's why. I mean, the guy has some hustle in him.
Well, they call him the hillbilly, too, so touche.
Well, he's a tough guy. He reminds me of, there's a guy I went against at Purdue named Doug Lee, who came from Washington. So when they come out of Washington, you know they're going to be tough.
Big fan of the rodeo, Todd Foster. Heldman to Keene. There's Foster pestering Richard Keene. A little bit too much. Todd Foster will pick up his first.
See Foster again trying to put that pressure. Richard Keene, Illinois clears out along the baseline. Purdue defensively doesn't correct themselves, and all of a sudden he's wide open on the baseline. Not much help in that area.
You know, you were talking about Doug Lee. Ironically, Doug Lee just happens to be Todd Foster's brother-in-law.
Well, it's a small world out there.
There you go. Lee, a starter. 86-87 Big Ten title teams, as you mentioned, for the Purdue Boilermakers.
Keeping it in the family.
Richard gets them both. The Illini holding pat at a 10-point lead. Kevin Turner checks in for the first time tonight. Good first half for Richard, 8 points from the field. This is kind of how it went the other night at Iowa, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But one thing, a plus for Illinois, is they've got Kiwan out there down the stretch, where against Iowa they didn't. Right now, they've got to stop this guy inside. He's just hurting Illinois.
6'8", 215-pound senior.
Now, I think he's sort of their leader out on the floor. He's a senior, knows what it takes, been in the trenches, won 2 Big Ten championships.
loses his balance. Heldman throws it off the Purdue player. They're going to say it was a held ball. Porter Roberts tying up Matt Heldman. The possession arrow goes the way of the Boilers.
Well, what happens here, you see there's no man's land. See how they have 2 or 3 guys? See all the white jerseys, nowhere to go. Good defense. And then you see Heldman come back, try to make something happen, threw it off the back of Porter. I mean, it was a nice play by Heldman, but they call a jump ball.
Purdue to try to cut it to 6. Under a minute remains. Porter Roberts up top to Chad Austin. After the strong start, Chad's been pretty quiet offensively. Very balanced attack this year for the Boilers. Brantley wide open jumper, and he now has 4. 7 different scoring leaders in the first 16 games played by Purdue so far. We have seen them spread it out again tonight offensively. Final shot of the half forthcoming. The Illini will let the clock tick down. Gandy for 3. Yes! Chris Gandy gets the 3-pointer to go with 2 seconds remaining in the first half. Some momentum working into the locker room. The 3-pointer by Chris Gandy. And the Fighting Illini lead after 20 minutes of play, 43-34.
Do you remember your first Pepsi?
1926 at Homer's General Store. Pepsi number 2, cheap seats. Wrigley Field. Pepsi 812. The
Golden Gophers of Minnesota by a couple in 21st ranked Boston College. The Golden Eagles winning the Big A's 91-78 Big East Conference action. Back to the Big Ten for a triple-header next week here on Creative Television. It begins at noon in Penn State, the Indiana Hoosiers and the Nittany Lions, followed by the Fighting Illini at Northwestern. And then a little bit after 4 o'clock Eastern Time, Michigan State travels to Williams Arena to take on Minnesota. Check your local listings. Big Ten Conference triple-header next Saturday on many of these same stations. Kejuan Garris in the first half, just 2 points from the field, but you could feel the presence from a leadership point of view with the Illini having Kejuan Garris back in the lineup.
Yeah, he didn't score a lot of points, but there's something that you stressed on early on at halftime with the even scoring, and that's been a strength, and that's how Illinois won last year here, that everybody contributed. There you see Illinois doing a good job of shutting down the trio. You see Chad Austin leading with 7 points, but Porter had 0 points, so they did a good job of slowing down the backcourt.
Yeah, all these guys, other than Chad Austin, basically single-digit scorers. You've got guys that score 12 points a game, 10 points a game, but then many of them down through this lineup of 6 seniors for Gene Cady's team are at 8 and 7. And the problem is, though, is once in a while one of those 7s turns into 22, and that makes it very tough on the opposing teams of the Purdue Boilermakers. Heldman and the Illini get the ball to begin the second half. Purdue's bench and Illinois' bench pretty quiet. Second chance points dominated by the Illini. Notary gets it in.
Oh, what, that was just a terrific move by Notary. He was underneath the hoop. They threw it on the wrong side. He jumped across the hoop, underneath, and flipped it over. What a great play by Brian Notary.
Now Keene with the steal. Waiting for Heldman. Keene pushes it to Gandy. Chris Gandy misses the layup. Good steal by Richard Keene, and the foul by Matt Heldman.
Again, Heldman trying to do what he did in the first half where he snuck up. Porter didn't see him, and then he took his eye off him, tried to sneak in there, but got called for the foul. Here you see they came out here in the second half with the energy level that I was hoping they would need, because you know at halftime Gene Cady got after his Purdue Boilermakers.
First foul of the contest to Matt Heldman. And they were very lethargic to start this basketball game. Then there was a spurt where Purdue was really pacing this contest. They cut the Illini lead. That was once 11 points down to about 6, but the Illini a strong finish to the half. Push off offensive foul on Brandon Brantley, and that will be his second. You know, Brantley has been an excellent shooter in his career here at Purdue. 6th all-time, averaging in his career 45% shooting. He stands presently for this season at 64% on the year. At that time, got a little overzealous with the lead arm and picks up the personal foul. Notri gets it inside to Hester. And Hester, the charge is called. So it goes both ways. Jerry Hester will pick up his second.
See what happened there? Hester extended that elbow, hooked it around. Notri didn't get called in the first half, but they notified him. Good coaching by Gene Cady, saying, look for that. And the referees were ready when Hester pulled it around the defender.
So calls that the coaches disagree with go both ways, so we'll call it even again. Brantley and Chad Austin. Porter Roberts. Roberts off the dribble. High arcing shot. Rims in and out. Rebound on the floor. Picked up by Richard Keene. Heldman pushes it up quickly to Notri. Uses his athleticism, but steps on the baseline.
Illinois had the numbers. Heldman just couldn't get the handle, and when he did, then he saw Notri, tried to get it to him. On the other hand, as soon as he threw that, Hester was wide open, so good defense by Purdue, retreating back to the basketball.
They had got beaten quickly on the fast break. Keene to Jerry Hester in the first half, and I'm sure they heard about it in the locker room. Now it is Brandon Brantley. Chad Austin to Herb Dove. Dove in traffic. And the foul is going to go against the Illini.
See, Mike, what happens defensively, Illinois switches a lot. On that switch, you'll see Dove was matched up with Heldman. Austin does a good job of recognizing that. Then you see Gandy come over, try to help out. Heldman gets called for his second foul. Excuse me, I mean Chris Gandy. That's so you see Gandy coming out of the game. But good defense by Chris. He just was there just a little bit late.
Now Chad Austin on Jerry Hester. Austin so versatile offensively. Pushes it now to the side of Porter Roberts. Purdue very patient offensively once again to begin the second half. Here's Austin on Keene now. Austin dribbles. Fadeaway jumper. And the leaner won't go. Ball tapped to Roberts off the knee of Richard Keene. And they whistle it down.
See, that's another thing. If you're going to make a bounce pass against this quick team, you better make sure there's no orange jerseys around. It's very difficult to make that type of pass.
So a new shot clock, 35 seconds for Purdue. Purdue has won 12 straight Big Ten games. Austin. And the rebound finally brought in by Bryant Notri. Purdue has won 10 straight overall, 14 here at Mackey Arena.
Well, right now they just can't buy a point from the perimeter. They're getting open shots, but not able to knock it down.
Oh, they're going to call the foul on Jerry G away from the basketball. He was tangling with Roy Hairston.
That's a tough call right there. They're struggling for positioning. He's going down. I mean, not a whole heck of a lot of contact, and unfortunately, that's 3 on Jerry G.
And Chris Gandy will check back in. Brad Miller, Todd Foster for Purdue.
That's a tough foul for Illinois. They can't afford to have him out of the game. I mean, although he wasn't starting, I think Coach Henson was trying to send him a message.
He came out and banged the boards diligently.
Yes, he did. I mean, he played very well in the first half. Did a good job of attacking the offensive boards and then putting a body on somebody on the defensive end.
Porter Roberts running the offense for Purdue. Although they work it around the perimeter so much, Miller pushes it in. Brad Miller comes off the bench, and I'll tell you what, he does a nice job down in the blocks, averaging 10 points a game in just 21 minutes of contest.
Well, last year he's one of the reasons why they came on hot in the second part of the season. Came in off the bench and really energized the inside play of Purdue.
Just a sophomore, Bryant Notri. Loses the handle. Austin, the 9th turnover for the Illini. Chad Austin back the other way. Notri can't handle the glass. Now Roberts lays it in. Porter Roberts' first field goal of the night. Here come the Boilermakers. They have pulled within 7. T1 Garris set to check back in with Ryan Blackwell. Keene off the dribble. to shoot. Notary with a man in his face. Rebound by Miller. Good defense that trip by Purdue. Keene retreats defensively, taps it to the side, and the Boilers will inbound. Purdue with some momentum. Timeout on the floor. The Boilers have pulled it within 7, and Gene's smiling again.
Mackey Arena with Illinois 45, Purdue 38. Miller does a good job. See how he seals Mike inside. Once the ball goes over his head, then he releases. That's what you love to teach your big men.
Miller, a sophomore from Kendallville, Indiana, shot 58% from the field last year. He's at 54% this year. And you said when he came on, so did the Purdue Boilermakers. Kewan Garris checks back into the lineup. Played sparingly in the first half. As a matter of fact, Kewan played a total of 8 minutes in the first half.
Well, they're going to say they're going to try to play him maybe 20 minutes was their goal. They weren't sure he was going to be able to play that long because he is, conditioning-wise, he's not that far ahead of himself.
Now Foster. Gets it to Miller. Miller working on Gandy. Brad Miller misses the lay-in. Now Richard Keene. Ryan Blackwell inside to Jerry Hester. Steal by Austin. Hairston ahead of the play. Gandy hustles back and commits the foul. Hairston wanted the intentional foul, and he won't get the call.
So you can see Purdue's energy level now starting to pick up. They're starting to find the rhythm. Here they do a good job of getting their hands in the passing lane. Then you see them releasing. Illinois doesn't have anybody back. Good hustle by Gandy and Keene to stop the easy bucket.
Picks up the personal. He was retreating along with Gandy. It will be the second on Richard Keene. Ryan Blackwell sits down. So Garris, Gandy, Notary, Keene, and Hester on the floor for the Illini. Purdue has attempted 152 free throws, just 88 for their opponents over the last 4 games, and that should play right into the hands of the Purdue Boilermakers tonight based on the way things have gone thus far for the Fighting Illini, but Illinois has gotten their free throw attempts also tonight.
Well, that's a mark of a good team, and that's why Purdue is winning, is that they're playing good defense, not putting their opponents on the free throw line, versus them getting to the hole, putting it on the floor, and getting some easy buckets.
All of the points so far in the second half scored by the Boilers have been a result of Illinois turnovers. Now Hester and Keene inside to Garris. Garris the leaner, the foul, and the bucket. Kewan Garris will go to the line.
See, he might have hurt his shoulder on that shot, because if you see him go up, you see him twinging with pain, or he might have got hit in the eye. Tough year for him right now. Does a good job of getting in the middle, then takes a hard power dribble. You see right there, I thought maybe his shoulder got whacked, but he got whacked in the eye. He does a good job of staying with it and going for the three-point play now.
Now, you speak of his shoulder, that's got to be a relief. He goes in, gets banged a little bit, and Kewan Garris looks just fine and connects on the three-point play. With those points, Kewan just moved into 25th place on the Illini all-time scoring list. Illini back up by 10, make it 8. Roy Hairston. Well, buckle it up. This is going to be another one of those Illinois-Purdue fantastic finishes. Keene to Gandy from the corner. Chris Gandy. That is the one thing he does so well. He can spot the open jumper from 18, 16, 14 and make it with consistency. Hairston working Hester. Throw it off the leg of Jerry Hester and Roy Hairston. And Purdue keep the basketball, and now they're going to tee up Jerry Hester as Hairston went to the floor.
Got to keep your cool, especially on the road. There's no excuse for throwing a guy around like that. Jerry's been around a long time. And you just can't afford to do something like that when you go on the road.
Play came away from the basketball after it had run out of bounds, and Hester picks up the technical foul. Todd Foster, pretty good free throw shooter at 76% on the season. And he gets the second. Splits him from the line, and Purdue will retain possession as the Illini lead is now 50-40. Chad Austin inbounds in front of our table. And this is going to be a good trip for the Purdue Boilermakers. Todd Foster for 3, his first field goal of the night. 40% this year from three-point range. Foster has 6. The lead is down to 6. Garrison traffic, the foul on Porter Roberts.
See, Porter Roberts is struggling all night with that high screen. What happens is the point guard throws it to the wing. The big man steps up about free throw line extended, sets the screen, but Porter is not doing a very good job. Here you see Foster squaring up, and if you know one thing, he can drill that three-pointer. You got to get in his face.
Now Keene works in traffic. Richard Keene can't get the roll. Miller on the rebound. Purdue, the back-to-back Big Ten champs, starting to work the boards more judiciously here in the second half. Miller, the pass to Hairston on the blocks. Double team applied. Back up top to Todd Foster. Porter Roberts off the dribble. Keene to Garris. Foster was right in front of him. Foster last stepped on the line. No, they're going to give the basketball to Purdue.
That was a great break for Illinois because Purdue had the numbers. He was falling out of bounds. And Purdue had the 200. Here you see out of control a little bit. No reason to rush it, but Richard Keene, for some reason, felt that he had to trying to push it up the court. Take another look at it. Steps out of bounds right before he throws it out. You see Foster, who was going to flip it ahead to a Porter who was wide open.
Garris sits down next to Jimmy Collins. Now Illinois has turned it over a few too many times to start the second half for Lou Henson's liking. 12 turnovers now for the Illini, 8 for Purdue. 6 turnovers here in the second half for the Illini. And just over 6 minutes of playing time.
And when you turn the ball over, you get the crowd in the game.
Foster misses the opportunity to cut the Illinois lead to 3. Illinois' biggest lead came in the first half at 11 points. They led at the break by 9. Heldman, Turner, G, Notary, Keene. Austin, Jennings, Hairston, Miller, and Foster the other way.
See defensively, Purdue really trying to pick it up, make something happen.
Jerry G from 16. Austin, perfect position to get the rebound. Throws it up ahead, too strong for Justin Jennings.
Well, Jennings was open for a minute, but then when Austin said, okay, now we're going to pass it, by then Illinois had recovered on defense.
Heldman's minutes down tonight with the return of Kewan Garris to the lineup for the first time in 3 games. Turner and the foul off the basketball on Todd Foster working against Matt Heldman.
Boy, Foster just lowered the boom on Heldman. Knocked the wind out of him. Heldman's hurting right now. Game is getting a little too physical out there. Referees got to take control of it. Too many things going out there, pushing and shoving. That means you got to call some fouls. You got to start calling some fouls out there.
Foster's a big kid, 6'1", 195 pounds, as opposed to Matt Heldman at 6'1", 162. Todd spent a little more time in the weight room, it seems.
All these guys, Purdue, Gene Katie's ex-football player, they come in here very strong and very physical.
Jennings intercepts the Keene pass. Justin Jennings. 13th turnover by Illinois, 7th of the half. Foster for 3. Jennings tries to hop on the air ball. Heldman finally picks up the rock for the Illini. Heldman with the left-handed dribble. Hairston with the steal. And the pass too far back the other way. Gene Katie is just livid. He sees Illinois making the mistakes, giving his team the opportunity to cut into the big lead, but the Purdue Boilermakers not taking advantage of it. Settle down, young men, hollers the head coach.
My daughter used to think...
Turning the ball over there, you see Austin trying to make something happen. Then on the other end, Illinois have a real difficult time almost trying to force it. And again, Purdue doing a good job getting back on defense. Nice steal by Jennings.
And the Illini committing 8 turnovers already here in the second half, and that is one thing when you look at the statistics this year that the Illini have done a good job with, and that is handling the basketball. Purdue also pretty effective here in Big Ten play. And only 16 turnovers in contest, 14 tonight for the Illini, 10 for the Boilers. Purdue trailed by 9 at the break. They now trail by 6, 50-44. There you see the points off those turns.
Yeah, for all the turnovers, not a whole heck of a lot of points scored.
No, that's because the turns have been going back and forth the last couple of minutes.
Exactly right.
10 on the shot clock. Matt Heldman at the top of the key. Keene tried to get it inside to Jerry G. G works around Brad Miller, flips it to the side. Notary flips it back into play. Bryant Notary goes hard into the stands. Purdue will have the numbers. Notary hustles back into the play, picks up his man defensively. Hairston lays it in on the other side over Jerry G. G in the lineup with 3 personal fouls. Havoc being created again. Kevin Turner, 4-3. Hops on the loose ball, and the foul is called against Purdue.
See, Illinois all of a sudden seems to, they're rushing it right now. They're not under control, and they seem to be out of their rhythm. They need to take their time offensively. They're in no rush, handle the basketball. They can get the shot that they want. But right now they're shooting quick shots that they didn't shoot in the first half. Here you see Turner. They're doing a good job of hustling. And they got the effort there. However, they're not playing with their mind right now. Mentally, they're out of it right here. The last couple minutes, got to put the thinking caps on and slow down a little bit. They've got the lead. Don't be in a rush.
15 foul here in the second half by Purdue. 16 fouls committed thus far in the second by Illinois. Foster on Turner. Up top, Kewan Garris. Garris inside. Miller overextends the defense on Jerry G. Purdue has cut it to within 4. The last time they were closer than 6. They trailed by 3 with 9:36 remaining in the first half. The foul by Miller. It is a 2-point basketball game. Lou motioning for the 22nd timeout. 22nd timeout taken by the Illini. The last time Purdue was this close, midway point of the first half.
Well, right now, I mean, with Illinois, they're sort of standing. You can almost see the tide starting to turn. Offensively, they're starting to stand around a little bit. Right now, coaching staff is talking to Jerry G to get him more involved. Right there, he comes over to help. See, but what happens is they've got the small lineup in there. Notary or Hester doesn't seal off Miller, who crashes to the board. So we call that rotation. No rotation on defense. On the offensive end, Mike, what they're trying to do is make the difficult pass. If they make that one extra pass, it'd be easier to get the ball inside. Right now you see Purdue on an 8-0 run in the last 4 minutes. Illinois needs a bucket to quiet this crowd.
Since 1967 here at Mackey, the Boilers have won over 80% of their games. They're doing a good job shooting in the second half, and Illinois has cooled off drastically. They've been taking a lot of shots, period, just 9 field goal attempts. Garris with 10 on the shot clock. In traffic. Jennings saves it for Purdue. Notary's there to haul it back in for Illinois. Notary for 3. And the rebound again by the Boilers. They can tie it on this trip down the floor. Hairston. Jennings on the offensive board. We are tied at 50. The last tie in our contest was in the early moments of this contest when it was 2-2. The Illini had led by as many as 11-9 at the half. Garris to G. Jerry G stolen again by Jennings this time. Roberts to Dove. Purdue leads. First Purdue lead since 1641 remained in the first, when they led 7-4. Purdue leads 52-50. Lou Henson calls timeout.
recaptured the lead up by 2, and one reason is a guy named Jennings. He's been everywhere here in the second half, has been explosive. There he crashes the boards, but defensively he's made the difference. Illinois trying to force it on offense has really recharged or energized their offense, making easy buckets for Purdue on the other end.
Purdue on a 12-0 run, their last lead early in the game. No tree. Working in traffic with the left, and finally the Illini score their first points in 4.5 minutes. Tied at 52, 8 minutes and 25 seconds remains in the second half. Mike Goldberg, Doug Altenberger here at Mackey Arena in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Illini 11-6 overall, 0-5 in the Big Ten Conference. Purdue's jam by Herb Dove. Back-to-back field goals for the Boilers, looking to go to 5-0 in Big Ten play, 15-2 overall.
Now what happened there, Gandy and Notri didn't communicate, didn't switch, left Dove right open, then compounded it. No one retreated to the line of the basketball.
Hester misses on the 3, the rebound by Purdue. They have grabbed every rebound on the defensive glass here in the second half. No second chance points for the Illini thus far in the second stanza. Chad Austin up top to Porter Roberts. Brantley from 16. Gandy fights for the glass. Keene tapped it over towards Chris Gandy. Now Keewan flips it to Jerry Hester, who lays it in.
See, if they just take their time offensively, they seem to self-destruct here in the second half and are causing Purdue easy buckets.
Keewan showing a lot of emotion there after that last bucket. He's been chomping at the bit to get back into the lineup. Jimmy Collins said once he thought Keewan broke a sweat tonight, he'd be fine, and Keewan has played pretty solidly.
Yeah, I thought he might have some tightness at halftime, playing that 8 minutes, but none of that here in the second half.
Austin over Keene. Chad Austin, his second 3 of the night. 8th all-time here at Purdue with three-point shooting percentage near 40%. 3-point lead for the home team. Garrison Roberts up top. Hester working on Herb Dove. He needs some help. Gets it to Chris Gandy. 10 to shoot. Herb Dove against Jerry Hester. Herb Dove will pick up his second.
They were scrapping down low, Hester and Dove. Here you see with ball reverses, he tries to come back. Dove holds on to him. Hester tries to get around him. They're really battling out there. They both want it.
That foul on Dove was the 6th team foul on Purdue, so now both teams in the bonus. The Illini to inbounds for the last time. They're going to call it a non-shooting foul away from the basketball, so Keene will inbounds underneath the Illini basket. Hester working on Austin. Jerry Hester leans in, and they're going to count the bucket. Goaltending on Brandon Brantley, and the emotion shown by Jerry Hester.
Well, Gene Katie is really upset because he didn't think this was going in. Good move. Not a real smart play. Ball was already on its way down.
57-56. Boilermakers lead by 1. Their only losses this year to Memphis and Villanova. Chad Austin, the blocking foul on Jerry Hester.
Austin's now starting to assert himself. There he does a good job. He knocked down that 3. He puts it on the floor, causes Hester to get his 3rd foul. That's what you want from your veterans. Once they sense the kill, then they try to squeeze the defense, put the pressure on him.
Actually, Jerry Hester is going to sit down with his 4th personal foul. Kevin Turner checks into the lineup. Austin misses the top half of the 1-on-1. Timeout called by Purdue, a 20-second timeout. Justin Jennings was being pestered by a couple of Illini defenders.
Well, right now the crowd was really upset because you had a lot of guys trying to get their hands on the basketball. been a very intense game, and it's been turned up a couple notches here in the last 5 minutes with Purdue back in the game, and now with the lead. Here you see they did a good job of Illinois guys really trying to steal the basketball. I think what got them a little more excited was when Kewan pushed off at the end. Again, Kewan's got to be careful. No excuse for that. They easily could have called a foul on him. Being a veteran, Hester got a technical. Got to keep your cool out there. I know Purdue gets in your face and plays physical. That's what they want you to do. They want you to break down.
Now they play like their coach played. Football with aggression. Foster to Brantley. Chad Austin and Kewan Garris on the right side. Garris with the steal. He lost the handle but regains composure. Kewan pushes it up to Kevin Turner. Watch out for Foster from behind. Left for Keene. 3 on the way. Gandy high for the rebound, and he throws it back in. Offensive rebound in the bucket for Chris Gandy. Illini regain the lead. Jennings wants to dribble on Jerry G. 3 from Porter Roberts. First 3 of the night for Porter Roberts. Last year here at Mackey, he was just 1 of 6 from the field against Illinois, a total of 4 points.
Well, he's really struggled with his shooting, only 34% for the year, so I'm sure Illinois wants him to shoot those shots. He stepped up in the clutch right there.
Garrison traffic, tried to thread it down to G. He hits the floor. Who will the basketball belong to? Purdue Boilermakers.
Great hustle by Roberts. Loose ball, he wants it more than Jerry G right there. Great hustle.
17th turnover of the contest by the Illini.
Seemed like in the first half, Illinois was getting all those. So here in the last 10 minutes of the second half, Purdue's turned it up a notch, and now really are hustling and going after those loose balls.
Roy Hairston back into the lineup. Kewan Garris will sit down with 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining. Heldman and Turner in the backcourt, as Keene will also have a seat. Dove, Austin, Porter Roberts, Brad Miller, and Roy Hairston in the lineup for Purdue. Keene and Garris on the bench for the Illini. Gandy, Heldman, G, Turner, and Hester are on the floor. 2-point Purdue lead. Austin trying to add on. Porter Roberts on the dribble. Loose ball underneath. This time it belongs to Illinois. Now what a run the past 3 years by the Purdue Boilermakers. Back-to-back Big Ten champs. They're looking to go to 5-0 against Illinois tonight here at Mackey. Hoosiers taking on the Nittany Lions, Fighting Illini taking on Ricky Birdsong's Northwestern Wildcats. A winner earlier today over Wisconsin, and Michigan State travels to Williams Arena to take on Minnesota. Doug and I will see you Wednesday night from the Assembly Hall in Champaign when the Ohio State Buckeyes come to take on the Fighting Illini, who see themselves with not very many field goal attempts at all here in the second half after opening the game shooting very well from the field. And Purdue in the second half, a much better effort than they had in the first 20 minutes. Inside, Jerry G uses the momentum of his body, spins and lays it in. We are tied at 60, our 5th tie of the contest. We've had 4 lead changes to go along with those ties. The Illini led by as many as 11, as I mentioned earlier. Porter Roberts up top. To shoot. Austin lost the handle of the basketball. Looks like he lost his footing first of all, but the Illini turn it right back over.
Heldman, what he's got to do is get out on the sidelines on the free throw line extended. It's very difficult to make that entry pass. Keene does a good job of keeping in front of Austin. See, he's got to get out to the sidelines instead of going to the middle where all the white jerseys are.
turnovers here in the second half by Illinois. Miller trying to go back up off the offensive glass. He'll take a trip to the line.
What happened there, we saw the screen and roll. Hellman gets stuck, and then Miller gets behind Miller. Miller crashes the boards. Not much Hellman can do. He's given up about a foot to the big man.
Miller is not a starter in this lineup, very much because of the superstition of Gene Cady. They continue to win with Miller coming in off the bench. So Gene keeps it that way. Brad Miller, excellent job from the free throw line in Big Ten Conference play thus far this year at 82%. Under 3 minutes remains. Kewan Garris is on the bench. Heldman works it from the top. Now Gandy has the time. The spot up for the jumper. The rebound by the Boilers again. Gandy got the shot away. Just couldn't get the roll. Porter Roberts. Miller inside. Hairston in traffic lays it in. 4-point Purdue lead.
Miller getting it done on the offensive end. A nice entry pass. Hairston does a good job of sealing. Illinois got to lay off Miller. Let him shoot that outside shot.
Largest Purdue lead of the game. Hellman. Oh!
What was that? Whoa!
Matt Hellman out of control, lays it in. Lou was on the bench motioning for a timeout. The Illini come away with 2 points. Now Miller and Austin. Herb dug. Keene was leaning on Miller. And the foul is going to go against Richard Keene.
A lot of contact down low. Keene comes to the top side trying to help out. You see the entry pass. And you see there, what a play by Heldman. Scoops underneath around Hairston. I mean, you look down in there. Now you see Kewan coming in. This is a critical time for Illinois. This is Kewan time. With 2 minutes to go.
Brad Miller misses the free throw. Jerry G comes out of the lineup, and Bryant Notary checks in.
What happened there? Hester, they say he stepped in, and there you see it. I mean, just not a smart play. You can't give people second chances when you go on the road, and Jerry with another not real smart play here in the second half.
Now, late in the game the other night, there was a lane violation against Iowa by the Fighting Illini, but Miller gives Illinois a break. He misses the second chance of the free throw. Trail by 2. Kewan Garris to Hester for 3. Got it. Jerry Hester, the 3-point field goal. Illinois regains the lead. Clutch 3-pointer by Jerry Hester. Now Roberts back the other way. Lots of room to shoot. Porter Roberts is short. Hester was pushed underneath. The foul is going to go against Purdue.
Well, Hester, you see a lot of emotion right there. He is really working it hard out there. A lot of things going on out there. A lot of people, a lot of talk out there right there in this game. And you can see Hester really into it emotionally. Did a nice job of blocking out Hairston. And he went up strong. Hairston gave him a push in the back. Got to make your free throws down the stretch if Illinois wants to win this game.
The Illini shooting 64% from the line in Big Ten play. Keene checks in for Matt Heldman.
I mean, you can see the Illinois bench. I mean, they really want, it's like it's been a surge. You look at Purdue's bench right now, they're all sitting down. You look at Illinois, they're all standing up. It's been a seesaw battle here in the second half.
Jerry Hester is 3 for 3 from the line, shooting 70% from the stripe on the year.
Illinois defensively has to play smart. They can't allow the ball to get inside. Play smart, let the big guys shoot the shot outside. You got to match up on Austin and Porter on the three-point line.
Hester gets them both. Big three-pointer for Jerry Hester and a couple of free throws. And the Illini lead by 3. 1 minute, 15 seconds remain.
Illinois right now switching. They were man-to-man most of the second half. They've gone back to their zone, which was very successful in the first half.
Dub down on the baseline, pushes it back up to Roberts. Austin long range. Chad Austin has tied us at 67.
That's the one guy you should not leave open. You've got to know where he is.
Timeout called by the Illini. Our 6th tie of the contest. 3-pointer by Chad Austin. We are tied with 48.5 remaining.
Just terrific shots. There's the man who came through the clutch last year, Richard Keene, hitting a tough 3-point. There he is, 8 assists, 8 points. Look for them to come out and they have a very structured play. Been very successful getting the ball inside the G. Let's see what happens here.
25 seconds remain on the shot clock. You see the game clock in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Garris, tough move inside Kewan Garris, his 2nd field goal of the contest.
You can't allow them to get off a 3-pointer. Whatever you do, a 2-pointer is fine. You get the ball back and you go for the tie. I mean, you've got at least a tie right now.
Gene Cady wants the timeout. 27.8 seconds remain. 24 on the shot clock.
See, that's what Kewan Garris does for you. Down the stretch, you know, we call that Kewan time. I mean, the last 5 minutes, that's when you want your point guard. That's when you want your All-American to take care of the basketball. And that's what he did. He was under control, recognized that everybody was pressing on the wings. None of the big guys came up to help him. Then he released it. What are they going to do on here? Last time down, they played zone. This time they might play man-to-man. See how he's under control? Does a good job. The big guy Miller comes up, but just a little too late. And that Kewan, you can tell him that shoulder isn't bothering him right now. He wants to get out there and compete. Defensively, Illinois has got to recognize who the 3-point shooter is. Don't let them take it off like Austin did or Porter did. What they've tried to do is, listen, they might get a shot off, but whatever you do, don't give them a 3. Give them a 2, and they'll get the ball back. And then at least you're playing for a tie. I mean, if you miss the shot, you go into overtime.
And the Illini have been very good working in overtime stanza. They have already won twice in overtime this season. 4 in a row in the extra stanza. 14 of their last 16. You saw 2 timeouts remain for Purdue, 1 for the Fighting Illini. Kewan Garris motioning to his teammates about the effort defensively forthcoming. Both teams with a half-dozen 3-point field goals on the night.
Well, you see out there right now, they've got a small lineup out there. Keene, Garris, Notre, and Hester. The only big man being Gandy, if you want to call him a big man.
Austin and Notre. Porter Roberts. Here's Brad Miller, gets it into the corner. Austin for 3. Offensive rebound by Roberts. He motioned for the timeout before his momentum took him out of bounds. 12.6 now remain, and the shot clock obviously is off.
Well, what they had was inside. Miller was wide open. They didn't go to Miller. They went to Austin in the corner. He was wide open. Illinois can't afford to leave that guy open again. It seems like they keep getting second chances. Purdue, great move. Great play. Great play by Porter not to go before he goes out of bounds to call a timeout. But if Illinois goes back into that zone, Gene Cady's going to say, look inside, especially at the free throw line, because Miller is wide open. Once that ball goes in there, Miller can go up with it, or what they can do is dump the pass down low. Whatever you do, don't want to give up that 3-pointer again. You cannot let Austin have another good look at the 3-point line. None of those guys. You're playing for a tie right now. I mean, that's the least you can get right now versus losing the game by 1. And believe me, I know, Mike, I've been here before. We were up by 2. We had a guy named, he's in the NBA right now. He's a great player making a lot of money, but Kendall Gill was a freshman. And when we came out of the timeout, Lou Henson said, whatever you do, don't let him shoot a 3. And guess who shot that 3 on us? A man named Doug Lee, and they won the game by 1 point.
Doug Lee, brother-in-law of Todd Foster. Foster is not in the lineup. Roberts, Miller, Hairston, Austin, and Herb Dove are. 12.6 seconds remains. Dove having tons Purdue's the trouble getting the ball in bounds, and they'll have to waste the Purdue timeout, and that is their last timeout. You know, I said earlier, Doug, buckled them up. And we were right. No lead by either team has been larger than 4 points the last 11-plus minutes.
Well, when you're having out-of-bounds play, the most important thing on out-of-bounds play is get the ball inbounds. Right there, Purdue sort of went through the motion, just took it for granted. There you see it's real important. Illinois has got one timeout. You see the fouls, 9-7. Illinois also cannot foul. If they do, then that puts them in the super bonus at 10 free throws. So important for Illinois not to foul, even though they might have a wide open shot. Purdue, what Illinois wants to do, sag it inside, make sure that they do get an easy bucket, that they're contested to some extent, but don't give up the perimeter. It'll be interesting to see what Lou Henson does here in this timeout. We played man-to-man on the last series here. Will he come out into a zone and try to change Purdue? That seems to confuse Purdue sometimes, that man-to-man to zone. I think on the in-bounds play that Purdue assumed that it was going to be a zone, and when Lou Henson went with the man-to-man, it confused him a little bit.
Tense times here at Mackey Arena. On the line, a 10-game winning streak, a 14-game winning streak at Mackey, a 10-game winning streak in Big Ten Conference play. 12.6 seconds remain. Dove will attempt to inbounds again for the Boilers.
Well, no, be careful. Purdue might try to score on this out-of-bounds play.
Up top, Garris right on Roberts. Now Austin, the hanger. He was short, and Garris gets the rebound. Kejuan Garris is fouled with 5.3 seconds remaining. And the Illini look as if they will finally get their first victory in Big Ten Conference play.
Boy, Austin was wide open, broke down the defense, and then got to the interior, got the shot that Gene Cady wanted. See, on top, Kejuan put the pressure, goes up strong. You even see the jerseys. They even had the boards, the white jerseys on the boards. Then coming down, they had to foul. The one man that Purdue doesn't want to foul is Kejuan Garris. If you're an Illinois fan, this is this guy here. He doesn't miss too many down the stretch.
Well, if he makes them both, this game is essentially over. Kejuan Garris has pushed the lead to 3 with 5.3 seconds remaining. 8 points in the contest for Kejuan, 4 of those from the line. He gets them both. Now do not foul. Roberts misses the shot, and the Fighting Illini, off to their worst start in Big Ten Conference play since 1930-31, have finally earned a conference victory. And on the other side of the ledger, Purdue loses for the first time in the Big Ten, and those winning streaks come to an end. Next Saturday, triple header action. Indiana at Penn State, the Fighting Illini at Northwestern, and the Michigan State Spartans of Tom Izzo will take on Clem Haskins' Minnesota team. Fighting Illini in dramatic fashion, see if they get the victory, and in the end, they're first in Big Ten Conference play. 71-67 the final. For Doug Altberger, Mike Gilbert saying so long, everybody.